You think he likes you. You think that because he kept coming back, because he pulled you close in the dark, because he looked at you like you were the only person in the room, that somehow means something real. And then he disappears again, and you're left sitting there wondering what you did wrong, what you said, what changed. And the answer is nothing. You didn't do anything wrong. But nobody tells you that. A man with avoidant attachment will easily sleep with you. He texts you at midnight. He shows up when he needs something. He lets you be the most important thing in his world for exactly as long as it feels comfortable to him. And the moment real intimacy comes knocking at the door, he's gone. But here is the part that changes everything. When a man with avoidant attachment truly loves you, sincerely and deeply, in a way that even surprises himself, he behaves in a completely different way. Most women never recognize it because they are not looking for the right signs. They look for the loud gestures, the grand declarations, the "I love you," the flowers. An avoidant love does not speak that language. It speaks in something quieter, in something most people overlook entirely. So, if you have ever been confused about where you stand with a man like this, if you have ever wondered whether what you have is real or simply convenient, then stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you will cast everything in a new light. And I mean truly everything. Let's start from the very beginning, because in order to understand what it looks like when an avoidant man truly loves you, you first need to understand what such a man actually is. Not the clinical definition, not the textbook explanation, but the lived, everyday version of what that looks like in your life. A man with an avoidant attachment style learned something very early in life. He learned that it is dangerous to need people. Most often through a parent or a caregiver, he learned that something bad happens when you reach out for closeness, when you show vulnerability, when you let someone see the real person inside you. You get rejected, you get ignored, you get overwhelmed or shamed. And so his nervous system made a deal with itself. It said, "Good, we're never doing that again. We will be self-reliant, we will be independent, we will handle everything on our own, and we will never, ever let anyone close enough to hurt us like that again." And that deal served it. For a long time, it worked. It kept it safe, it kept it functional. It protected it from the kind of pain that feels unsurvivable for a child who simply wants to be loved. But here is the problem. The very same protective mechanism that saved it as a child is now, as an adult, destroying its relationships. Because you can't have real love without closeness. You can't have real intimacy without vulnerability. And vulnerability is exactly what his entire nervous system is wired to avoid. So what does he do instead? He keeps things superficial. He keeps them physical. He keeps them light, non-committal, and carefree. And sex, physical intimacy, is manageable for him. Because sex doesn't require emotional disclosure. Sex doesn't require him to sit with his feelings. Sex doesn't require him to say, "I'm scared, I need you, I'm afraid of losing you." Sex can be intense, close, and connecting without the emotional risk that truly frightens him. That is why it is easy for a man with avoidant attachment to sleep with you. Not because you are not special, but because it does not cost him what he fears giving the most, his true self. And that is the first thing you really need to come to terms with. When such a man keeps coming back for physical connection while keeping emotional depth at a distance, that is not a compliment. It is not proof that he cares about you. It is proof that he has found a way to get intimacy without paying the price for it. And that is not love. That is comfort. That is convenience. And you deserve to know the difference. I know what some of you are thinking right now. You're thinking, but he's so loving when we're together. He looks at me like he means it. He holds me like he doesn't want to let go. And I believe you. I genuinely believe that something real is happening in those moments. Men with avoidant attachment don't fake the warmth. They're not playing a role when they pull you close. In that moment, they truly want to be there. But wanting closeness and being able to sustain closeness are two completely different things. And this man is stuck in a cycle where he desperately longs for intimacy, moves toward it, gets too close, feels the panic rising, and then has to pull away in order to regulate himself. It is not a decision in the way you might think. It is a compulsion, a survival response, and understanding that is not an excuse for his behavior, but simply a context. And context matters, because this is where it gets interesting. This is the part most people never talk about. When an avoidant man truly falls in love, when someone genuinely gets past the wall, when the connection is deep and safe and real enough that his system begins to respond differently, he will not become a different person overnight. He does not wake up one day and say, "Okay, I am ready to be emotionally available now." That is not how it works. What actually happens instead is far more subtle, far quieter. And if you don't know what to look for, you will miss it completely. The first thing he does, when he truly loves you, is stay when things get uncomfortable. Just think about that for a moment. This is a man whose entire internal wiring says, run when it gets serious, run when the feelings get heavy, run when the conversation goes somewhere that requires him to be seen. His default behavior is to create distance when intimacy increases. So when he stays, when he sits with you in the discomfort instead of disappearing, that is enormous. That is him fighting against his own nervous system, because in that moment, you matter more than his fear. And this won't always look dramatic. It won't look like a movie scene where he breaks down and tells you everything. It will look like him staying on the phone even when the conversation gets difficult. It will look like him not leaving the room during an argument, even when every part of him wants to. It will look like him being physically present when he would normally find an excuse to leave. And if you measure love by grand declarations, you will look right past it. You won't even register it as significant. But it is significant. It is one of the most significant things a man with avoidant attachment can do. The second thing he does, when he truly loves you, is tell you something he has never told anyone else. Not necessarily big, dramatic secrets. Sometimes it's something small, something that doesn't even seem that significant on the surface. He might tell you about something that embarrassed him. He might share a fear that he usually laughs off. He might mention something from his childhood or his past that he has never discussed with anyone else. And right after that, you might notice that he becomes a little quiet and a little distant, because the act of sharing has made him feel exposed, and exposure is frightening for him. But he shared it anyway, because something in him trusts you, because something in him wanted you to know him. Not the curated version of himself that he shows the world, but the real one. The one that lies beneath the confidence, the independence, and the "I'm fine" exterior. And this is not something he does casually. This is not something he does with people he sleeps with, merely out of convenience. Such a vulnerable revelation is his way of opening a door, and you need to recognize it for what it is. The third thing he does, when he truly loves you, is that he gets jealous, but tries to hide it. Jealousy is complicated, and I'm not here to romanticize it or tell you that jealousy means love. That is not what I mean. I am talking about something more specific. A man with avoidant attachment, who does not care about you, will not register when other men show interest in you. He truly will not, because if he has not invested deep feelings, the idea of you being with someone else simply does not affect him. But if he loves you, if you truly matter to him, he will feel things he cannot process. You might notice that he grows quieter when a certain name comes up. You might notice that he asks casual questions that aren't really casual at all. You might notice that he suddenly becomes more attentive after you mention having spent time with someone else. He won't make a scene. He won't confront you dramatically, but something will shift. And if you're paying attention, you'll feel it. That shift is information. That shift is telling you that you are not replaceable to him. That shift is telling you that the thought of losing you actually lands somewhere in his body. The fourth thing he does, if he truly loves you, is that he takes initiative in the light of day. Here is the thing about men with avoidant attachment and connection. The darkness is easy. The late-night messages are easy. The private moments are easy. These exist in a space that requires no commitment, that does not require him to integrate you into his actual life. But the daylight is different. In the daylight, real life unfolds. In the daylight, real relationships exist. When he texts you at 2 in the morning, that tells you he wants you in some way. But when he calls you on a Tuesday afternoon just to talk, when he suggests making plans in advance, when he thinks of you in the middle of an ordinary day and reaches out, not because he needs something, but simply because that is something else entirely. He is the one who weaves you into the fabric of his everyday life. He is the one who lets you exist in the space where his true self lives, not just the part of himself he shares in secret. Pay attention to that. Notice whether he shows up in the daylight or only in the dark. That will tell you more than almost anything else. The fifth thing he does when he truly loves you is that he comes back and actually addresses what happened. Men with avoidant attachment withdraw. That is simply a reality. Even when they love someone, even when the connection is real, deep, and meaningful, the pull toward distance is strong. And so they will sometimes disappear. They will go quiet. They will retreat into themselves. That will happen. But here is what changes when the love is genuine. He comes back and says something. It may not be an eloquent speech. It may not be the apology you were hoping for, but he acknowledges it. He might say something like, "I know I've been quiet for a while. I'm not good at that." He might say, "I was in my own head, but I'm back now." He might simply show up and be more present than before, which is his way of saying, "I know I pulled away, and I'm choosing to come back." That matters more than you know, because a man who only uses you for his comfort will disappear and return without a word, without acknowledgement, without recognizing that his withdrawal had an impact on you. He'll just reappear and act as if nothing happened, because for him, nothing significant did happen. But a man who loves you will carry a certain awareness of what his absence cost. And even if he can't express it perfectly, he will find a way to bridge the gap, to acknowledge the disruption, and to turn toward repair. The sixth thing he does when he truly loves you is that he talks about the future and includes you in it. Men with avoidant attachment are notoriously allergic to conversations about the future. Bring up next month and they get uncomfortable. Bring up 6 months from now and they shut down. Bring up anything that implies a continuing trajectory and you will feel them tense up. That's because conversations about the future are conversations about commitment. And commitment means vulnerability, and vulnerability is the enemy. But when the love is real, something changes. He may not be ready to talk about forever yet. He may not be ready for the big conversations, but he will start including you in the smaller futures. He might say things like, "We should go there sometime." He makes plans that are a few weeks away instead of only meeting in the moment. He remembers something you mentioned wanting to do and actually follows up on it. He brings you up in conversations with his friends or family in a way that suggests you are a constant presence, not a passing one. These small inclusions in his future are significant. They show that he allows himself to imagine a life in which you exist. And for a man with avoidant attachment, allowing himself to do that, to let himself think forward with someone, is an act of genuine courage. The seventh thing he does when he truly loves you is that he shows up when you are not at your best. Think about the dynamic you have with him. In what context does he show up? If it is always when things are easy, when you are fun, when you are light and undemanding and asking nothing of him, that is one thing. But love is tested in the difficult moments. Love reveals itself in the moments that require something. When you are sick, when you are stressed at work, when you are having family difficulties, when you do not feel beautiful or confident or uncomplicated. Does he disappear in those moments, or does he find a way to be there? It doesn't have to look like sitting by your side and holding your hand. Men with avoidant attachment often show care through action rather than presence. He might show up and fix something practical. He might send you something that acknowledges what you're going through. He might simply reach out more than usual, but some version of him showing up in the difficult moments is a sign that this isn't just about what you offer him when everything is comfortable. The eighth thing he does when he truly loves you is that he gets nervous. This is subtle, but it is real. You might notice that around you he is sometimes a little less smooth, a little less cool. You might notice that he overthinks things specifically with you. He may have said something to you and then followed up, wondering whether he said it wrong. In a moment where you would have expected confidence, he may have been unusually uncertain. He may have tried to impress you in an almost childlike, almost uncharacteristic way that differed from the composed person he normally presents to the world. This nervousness is love. This nervousness is proof that you matter to him so much that the idea of getting it wrong actually registers as a threat. And for a man who usually moves through the world with an aura of self-sufficiency and detachment, caring about what you think of him is enormous. It is him allowing himself to be touched by you, giving weight to your opinion of him. The ninth thing he does when he truly loves you is that he defends you. Not necessarily in some dramatic, public way, but in the moments when you aren't there. When someone says something dismissive about you, he doesn't laugh along. When a friend implies that you're just someone he sees every now and then, he corrects that. When an image of you begins to form that doesn't reflect how he truly sees you, he speaks up. Because when you love someone, it matters to you how they are seen and spoken about. You don't allow people to diminish that person, even when it would be easier to say nothing. If you've ever had a moment where someone told you he defended you when your name came up, take note of that. That is not the behavior of a man who sees you as temporary or convenient. That is the behavior of a man who has decided that you matter to him. The 10th thing he does when he truly loves you is that he lets the silence be comfortable. That sounds strange, but hear me out. Men with avoidant attachment are often performative in relationships that aren't deep. They keep things entertaining. They keep things moving. They manage the energy of the interaction because real silence with someone is intimate. Real silence means simply being present together. No performance, no distraction, just two people together with nothing filling the space. That level of presence requires trust. It requires a sense of safety. It requires dropping the performance. And when a man with avoidant attachment reaches a point with you where he can simply be still with you, where he doesn't have to manage everything, where he can sit in the silence without feeling the need to escape it, he is letting his walls down in one of the most genuine ways possible, because silence is vulnerable. And his silence is not something he shares with just anyone. Now, I want to address something because I know that some of you are reading these signs and comparing them to your own situation and feeling a mixture of hope and uncertainty. I know some of you are saying, he does some of these things, but not all of them. And I want to be honest with you about something important. Men with avoidant attachment who truly love someone will still cause pain. They will still withdraw. They will still have moments of emotional unavailability that leave you confused and alone. Love does not heal avoidant attachment. And a man can love you and still not be capable, right now, of giving you what you need. Both of these things can be true at the same time. And here you really have to be honest with yourself. Because the question is not just, does he love me? The question is this love sustainable in the way that I need it to be right now? Is he moving in the direction of growth? Is he making any effort to show up differently? Or is he just repeating the same cycle, giving you just enough to keep you there without ever truly building anything? A man with an avoidant attachment style who loves you and is willing to grow will feel uncomfortable, but he will not stagnate. You will see movement, slow movement, but movement. He will learn to stay, even when he wants to run. He will learn to speak things out loud, even when it is hard. He will not be perfect at it, but you will see that he is trying. A man with avoidant attachment, who loves you but is not ready to grow, will still leave you with the same confusion again and again. He will give you glimpses of real connection and then close the door. He will apologize without changing. He will want you without consistently choosing you, and you deserve to see that for what it is. Not as a reflection of your worth, but as a reflection of where he is. You cannot love someone into readiness. You cannot be patient enough or understanding enough or loving enough to make someone do the work they have not yet decided to do. You can offer someone a safe space to grow, but he has to choose to walk into it. And if he does not choose that, if he is comfortable staying exactly where he is while you wait, then this is not a love story. This is a waiting room, and you were not made to sit in a waiting room. I also want to say something directly to the women who have convinced themselves that the physical connection is enough, that the intimacy you share is proof of something deeper, that the fact that he keeps coming back means he will eventually come all the way. I hear you, And I understand why that feels true, because the connection is real. The chemistry is real. And when someone makes you feel that way, it is so easy to interpret intensity as depth, to interpret longing as love. But intensity is not the same as depth, and a man who keeps coming back to you for the feeling you give him is not the same as a man who chooses you for the person you are. The difference is this. Does he seek the version of you that is uncomfortable, the version that asks for things, that has needs, that takes up space, that requires him to show up? Or does he only seek the version of you that is easy, the version that doesn't demand too much, that accepts what he gives, that is available when he decides to appear? Love seeks both versions. Love shows up for the uncomfortable parts too, and if he only knows the easy version of you, it might be worth asking yourself whether you have made yourself smaller to make it comfortable for him, and whether the version of you he keeps coming back to is even the complete you. Here's the thing about avoidant attachment men and boundaries. If you don't have any, they stay. When you get clear about what you need, when you become someone who actually enforces their own boundaries with calm and confidence and without drama, something shifts. For some avoidant attachment men, that clarity is exactly what wakes them up. That groundedness is what signals to them, this is safe, this is real, this person knows their worth, and that makes them worth fighting for. For others, the moment you draw a boundary is the moment they leave. And that is painful. But it is also revealing. Because a man who leaves the moment you ask for something is not a man who would ever have given you what you need. He was only comfortable as long as you asked for nothing. And you don't want a love that only works when you need nothing. You want a love that can hold you, that can carry all of you, that doesn't shrink when you show up fully. So let me leave you with this thought. If you are with an avoidant man, and you see these signs I have described, if he stays in the discomfort, if he shares things he has never shared before, if he takes the initiative in the light of day and comes back to address what happened, if he includes you in his future and shows up when things get difficult, if he gets nervous around you and defends you when you are not in the room, if he can simply be still and quiet with you, then those are real signs. Those are signs worth paying attention to. Those are signs that beneath the surface, something truly genuine is happening. But signs are no substitute for a conversation. Signs are no substitute for clarity. And at some point, after you have extended grace and patience and understanding, you also deserve a direct, honest conversation about what this is and where it is going. Not an ultimatum delivered in frustration, not a breakdown after months of holding everything inside, but a calm, grounded, clear conversation in which you say what you truly need and listen to what he truly says. And then you believe what he shows you, not just what he says, not just what he feels in the moment, what he consistently shows you over time. Because love is not a feeling that comes and goes. Love is a series of choices made over and over again, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. And you deserve someone who chooses you over and over again, not someone who almost chooses you every time. You deserve the real thing. And do not let the almost real convince you to forget that.